always appreciate you guys being here. A couple housekeeping things. This weekend obviously is our Veteran Appreciation Game coming up, and with Veterans Day being yesterday and having spent time coaching at West Point in the Naval Academy, and obviously want to give a shout out to all the men and women that have served. Shout out to Brenda Free's big win yesterday, women's basketball, and a 3-0 start, and then obviously field hockey has their playoffs. And so we want to wish Missy good luck Friday in the NCAA tournament. The Oregon game, obviously it does us no good to worry about things that have happened in the past right now, because we've got a lot of we've got some things to get accomplished this week. I thought our team competed well, the way we want them to compete in a game like Oregon against a really good team. I thought our quarterback hung in there pretty well. Defensively, was really impressed with, the way Coach Williams and the defensive staff were able to continue to compete against a really talented offense. And, Dylan Gabriel, our defense held him probably to the lowest passing yardage he had, obviously. The young guys are getting better, but still lots of work to do. Obviously, with Rutgers, they're coming off of a big win against Minnesota. They got the 5 wins, and they have an opportunity, obviously, to become bowl eligible this weekend here. So I know they were missing some key guys. Their running back, one of the more talented players in the country. Obviously, don't know his status, but I do know that the other guys that have filled in for him are really talented players. Their quarterback is kind of the guy that makes him go. If you look at the game from a week ago, and we've played against him, obviously, during his time at Minnesota. Got a lot of respect for Greg and the job he does as a coach, and over the years, really has his team always well prepared, and they do all the little things the right way. So, those guys will be well coached coming in here. Obviously, this is an important game for us, an opportunity for us to, we've got 2 home games left and a away game. And, this is playoff football. It's kind of what I told our team. It's our version of the playoffs, meaning we win, we advance. We lose, we make it a little tougher to advance. And so our players understand that. The pillars of our program is, how we start and how we finish. And obviously, we've got some work to do to finish the right way, which we've been here before as a team. I feel very confident the way that you got our guys prepared, that they'll put the necessary work in, and we definitely understand the importance of this game this weekend. Our captains going into this game, Kellen Wyatt, Caleb Wheatland, and Isaac Bunyan, will serve as our game captains, leading us into the Rutgers game. So with that, I'll open up to any questions.
Hey, Mike, you mentioned Rutgers being able to have an opportunity to get bowl eligible. How much does you guys becoming bowl eligible factor into the messaging going into this weekend for the rest of the season?
It really didn't. I mean, for us, we know the matrix of what it takes to get to bowl eligibility. The magic number is 6. As we have 3 opportunities left, 2 of them here at home, and we haven't been home in about 4 weeks now. And the importance of this game, because it's the next game, but also, like I said, it starts for us what really is playoff football, meaning we have to win to be able to advance, and our guys understand that.
What's it going to take for you guys to get back on the right side of the turnover ledger like you were the first half of the season?
Obviously, when you some of these turnovers are just tough for us. They're just really tough when you watch the play. The turnover there at the end of the game, KP's getting grabbed, and Billy got hit in the face after the throw, and it's a interception. But most of the time when you look at these plays, those are, if it's us, it's pass interference, and we've got to do a better job of protecting the football. I mean, we understand it, but some of these turnovers that we've had, they're sometimes the rub of the green. And, what we've got to do is, our margin of error is really big for us. In the last 2 games, we've been right at that 12% threshold where we talk about the controllables on offense. We were at 12.59%, meaning we're not beating ourselves as much, but the interceptions and the fumbles, returns for touchdowns, those are the ones that come back to get us, and then we're not getting them on the other end. I think of the opening, we punt the ball down there and the ball comes from underneath Ty Felton, one of our best players, and a chance to have the ball inside the 7. Those are the plays we got to make.
Hey, Coach.
What's up with you?
You mentioned comment on Guy obviously missed this past weekend, and with his status kind of uncertain for this week, do you feel like just kind of the uncertainty adds kind of another layer dimension to the game plan? And you mentioned just kind of the guys behind him having a true freshman. What have you kind of seen from him?
Yeah, I mean, they got a veteran O-line. I mean, if you look at their offensive line and the experience they have up front, that to me is a week ago I felt like the running backs at Oregon made the O-line better. This week, I think the O-line is one of the more talented, experienced lines in our league. And, obviously their running back, the starter, typically, I mean, he's, if not one of the best in the country. So losing that production, but, they threw the ball all around the place last week against Minnesota. I mean, the kid that transferred from Minnesota is talented enough. We've seen him. He's the guy that we feel like it kind of makes them go, and we've got to find a way to affect them a little bit more than we have.
Hey, Coach, what do you want to see from Billy?
I can't hear you, Sam.
What do you want to see from Billy these last 3 games?
Protect the football. Like to see us, the explosive plays again. We're not having them. We're driving the ball more. I think we had 6 of 10 drives go down the field. We're missing the explosives. We lost the explosive play battle 6-4. We had 4 explosives. They had 6. And to me, what I'd like to see us try to do is take advantage of, we have some plays. I think back to the punch play, all right? It's a wheel route, the hide concept where he's behind the defense, but we have to turn, catch, and fall down. I think of, Dylan Wade. We hit him on a little pivot route over the ball, and he catches it, and as he's catching it, he's stumbling. We're getting what the plays are designed for, but we have more talented players that I feel like there's some big plays being left on the field that we've got to figure out how to make them. And to me, for Billy, it's protection of the football. But as I said, when you look, 2 of the interceptions are just plays that when I watch them on tape, they shouldn't happen. They're not as egregious as maybe when there are a couple that the pick 6 against Minnesota was egregious. The one with Kellen, with Caden coming across the field, he got pulled and snagged, and the guy made the play. There's not much he can do about those.
And then for you, just as you've played now 2 of the new teams in the Big Ten, I wanted you just maybe if you could reflect on how this season, what have you liked about the realignment? What have you maybe not liked now that you guys have played USC and Oregon?
I mean, again, I've been on the record that anytime you expand a room, anytime you make things more diverse, it makes it better because it adds to an already good product. The Big Ten was already a really good product. When you throw in SC and Oregon and Washington and these type of teams that have joined our league, when you expand the room and you bring diversity into anything, it just opens up for new ways of thinking, new ways of learning, new ways of doing stuff, and they've added value to our conference. And both really talented programs, well supported. Obviously, the environment there at Oregon was phenomenal. It's one that I envy, and I'm looking forward to building this environment to where we can become that.
Mike, what's been the challenge for you this fall in blending this defense together, and what gives you cause for confidence that they'll be able to make a difference?
Well, I just think the way they continue to play, I mean, our defense played, I thought, well enough for us to win on Saturday. I mean, they limited one of the more explosive offenses to 6 explosives. They got off the field. They got us the ball back. The problem is it hasn't been complementary, meaning when we're playing well on offense, our defense isn't necessarily. We score right before the half, and then they go down and they get one right before the half. And then our defense really has done a good job of the adjustment piece. The biggest thing for us is the patience of allowing these guys to grow up on the perimeter, and then continuing to get the consistency, maybe a little more pass rush, affect the quarterback a little bit more than what we have.
Rutgers snapped a losing streak last Saturday against Minnesota. They beat Minnesota. What from that game tape jumped out at you that made you take notice?
The quarterback throwing the ball the way he did. I mean, and we know how talented he is. I mean, we saw him when he had Rashad Bateman and a couple of those guys at Minnesota. We've gone against them, but they have been a team that has relied on the ability to run the ball, played field position, and then great on special teams. Their special teams are really, really talented. And so, it's going to come down to that. Our ability of, on special teams, finding a way to affect the game. On offense, us protecting the football the way we need to, and then on defense, we just haven't gotten the turnovers that we were getting earlier in the year. It's kind of they've dried up here the last couple of games. We got to figure out how to get people to turn the ball over.
Hey, Mike.
George, what's up?
Having the similarities between them just playing Minnesota, you guys playing Minnesota just a few weeks ago, are there things, since that's so close in the calendar, that you can look at to see ways that you can
Yeah, I
game
don't
plan
know
what
if you
they're gonna bring?
study this league, but Rutgers and Minnesota, like, I don't know what's going on, but coaches are going back and forth, players are going, and so
It's a loop from
yeah,
Great Lakes to.
but their defenses are similar structured. Obviously, Greg has a nest of coaches that have worked with him that kind of embrace that philosophy. I kind of came up under the Nick Saban philosophy the last few years, and you can see Greg's imprint, you know, at both places, whether it's on the offense or the defense, very similar structure. In the special teams pieces, I think the differentiator for them, because they've been really, really good on special teams with their specialists and the variety of things they do, they create advantages. And that's where, for us, if there's an area where we need to clean up some things fast, is we've got to be able to, which I thought we did a week ago, a little bit better, but it's going to come down to us and our ability in the special teams areas to either generate momentum or not hurt ourselves.
And in the rushing game, I know you guys are trying to utilize, screen passes, wheel routes to simulate that a little bit, but in terms of actually getting the carries and getting the yards on the ground that way, progress in that aspect?
It is,
too?
because if you watch it, the one thing that has gone down here probably the last 3 weeks are the negative plays, the negative runs, meaning guys unblocked, getting hit in the backfield. And we haven't had a bunch of those, but I still can tell you we haven't run the ball the way we want to, and that has been the missing piece. I mean, we have to find a way to, when I always talk about balance isn't how many times we do it, it's when we have to run it efficiently. And you know what, there were times where we actually, our one-back power play, we hit 6-7 yards twice. We're just not having it consistent enough to stay on track with the run game. That puts a lot of pressure on the young line. You know, we had a true freshman started left tackle last week in Therese Davis, who I think will be one hell of a player in the future. And these are the growing pains that we go through. But to help us, we got to be more efficient at running the ball, and that's something we got to figure out here this week.
What is the left tackle going to look like this Saturday? I mean, Andre, how's he doing? Is Therese going to be there again? Marcus played last week too. So.
I mean, we're still trying to figure it out. I mean, Andre is working himself back, obviously, from the injury in the Minnesota game. Therese, as I said, is one of the talented freshmen. He and both Michael Hershey, who now is healthy, and it's great to have that back because it creates a little more depth. We're hopeful that we can get Andre Roy back because of the experience that he had as a first-time starter this year. Just having him out there gives us depth to where now we can play Therese 30 plays and not have to play him 55 or 60, which the more plays young guys play, the more opportunities they have to get better, but also they get exposed a little bit. And that's where the depth that we had going into the season, we've struggled up front because of some of the injuries we faced. Thanks, guys.
Players probably about 5 or 10 minutes of 1 second on pizza. Hello, how y'all doing? Good.
Rowan Hemby, go right into questions. Who wants to start?
Hey, Roman, how much is getting ball eligible? Is that the number one thing on your guys' list right now going in the last 3 games?
Can you repeat that one more time?
Getting bowl eligible with 2 more wins in the next 3, just how much of a motivating factor is that for you guys down the stretch?
Oh, yeah, it's definitely motivating. We've been able to do something very special around here lately, and we want to keep that going. A chance to extend our season, if possible, is something that we really would like to do to get some of our young guys more experience, more bowl practices, and a way for us to continue this football family going. So, we take it 1 week at a time. We try to play our best football and put our rocks in the ocean. But, that's something we definitely are striving to reach.
Roman, Rutgers ranks 6th in the Big Ten at stopping the run. What kind of things do they do that make things difficult for guys like you?
They're just really aggressive. Watching them on film, they have a lot of players that kind of jump off the board just by being in the right places, and they play really well together. I feel like they know their schemes really well, and they're able to execute. So anytime you have a challenge like that looming, it's definitely something that somebody like myself as a competitor looks forward to. So I'm excited.
It's been a rough go for you guys on the ground this fall. What gives you cause for confidence that you guys can kind of turn things around these last 3 weeks?
I have the utmost trust in those guys up front, and it's not all on them. Sometimes it's us being in the wrong spots or just, not being able to execute the plays that are called from our offense. So I know that we're one man away. Sometimes it's one cut away. Sometimes it's just one scheme thing away that we practice all week, getting into the details. So I feel like at any given time, any of the running backs could break loose and make a play that will, change the game, and that's what we're looking forward to do.
Roman, this season obviously probably hasn't gone to plan for you. It's your worst statistical year so far. Why do you think that since your sophomore season, it just hasn't replicated that production?
We're young in some areas, and I can't put a lot of blame on anybody else but myself. I really strive hard to make those plays, and sometimes it's just not your day. Sometimes God uses those experiences as, learning experiences for us. So I've been able to, use some of those things that haven't been going my way as learning experiences, so in the future I can make those plays better, or to make myself a better player so that I can make the plays and get back to, playing ball like that.
Does it take some time to kind of accept that? Because I think for most people or fans, you expect like linear growth, right? Like, oh, Roman had a great sophomore year, he's going to have a great junior and senior year. It doesn't always work that way. How do you kind of handle that and handling those lessons and failures?
I put it all on God's hands. He has bigger plans for me, and, I sometimes can't see what's going on or what he has planned for me, but I know that in the greater scheme, he always works things out. So just being a good person and trying to work through it is all I can do, and that's what I've been trying to do. And, my teammates, they see that. I see how they work, and it inspires me to come into the office every day and work as hard to get back to that level.
Roman, do you look back at the Oregon game and think it's in any way a moral victory the way you guys performed against them?
We don't really believe in moral victories. We definitely seen a lot of good things on tape that we can learn from and push forward with. And there's a lot of things that can be corrected, a lot of detailed things that once we get corrected, we feel like we can play with anybody. And I think that was the thing that I kind of took away from that game. We made a lot of mistakes, and we found ourselves in that game. And I feel like if you can do that against the #1 team in the country, it kind of shows that every game is a winnable game for us, and we have to approach it that way and, work really hard to end up on the right side of that next time.
And obviously, as you mentioned, Oregon, #1 Oregon is one thing, but this game against Rutgers, does this loom as one of those winnable games that you guys have to have?
I believe every game is a winnable game. I think Rutgers is a great team, and I think we have a great team. We'll have a good environment at home, and, as our season winds down, it's important for us seniors to kind of leave this place on a high note. So that's kind of how we're approaching everything. We're looking forward to putting on a good show and, hopefully getting on the right side of things, because that's the dream of the sport is to win games. So that's what we're trying to do.
Hey, Roman, a big talking point this year has just been your growth as a leader, a vocal leader. We've talked about it a lot. Just how have you approached that within the running back room, specifically with Nolan Ray being a young, talented freshman? What are your conversations like with him? And, what are you telling him?
Our running back room has a lot of talent. I always talk about it and I joke with them because, when I was a younger guy, I kind of seen how the talent was in the room, from the older guys and how they kind of displayed their role of leadership onto me and kind of how I'm flipping it onto them, those younger guys, and seeing how they've been able to grow since I met them is tremendous. And I feel like the room is in great hands regardless of who is on the field, because we have such a talented room. And it makes me feel good because I know that being a leader and giving them little things that I wish I had when I was younger will help them out tremendously. And I've already seen a lot of the growth that they made, and I know that they're ready to take it off and they'll do some special things around here. So it makes my job really easy to kind of tell them little things like, hey, what you just did right there was really good, or maybe, hey, you might want to check this out next time. And just being able to be in their corner, I think it'll help them out, and it helps me as well.
Rome, obviously, you talked about, or Coach Locksley talked about earlier, just, one thing he's kind of seen through the progression of the season in the run game was, the lack of negative plays where it's not happening as frequently. What do you feel like, you talked about just kind of bringing that young running back room along, but what do you feel like that you guys are kind of doing differently or, doing differently, whether it's in, practice or film session to kind of, avoid those plays?
I think it comes down to just us seeing what's there and taking what's there. I know at the running back position, it becomes times where you get greedy and you want to make that play that changes the game, and you might make a decision that's not in the best interest of the team. And Coach Scott, he talks about that all the time. Like in an offense like our offense, where we're trying to get first downs and move up the field, a 4-down run. A 4-yard run is not a bad run, and we know we kind of got back to the drawing board and realized that, if we can get it to 3rd and short, we're in a good situation just because we have a good leader in Coach Locks who calls good plays, and we have a good leader in Billy who can navigate the offense. So as we went through the season, we really worked hard on trying to be in the right places and just getting those gritty runs where we got to put our nose down and get that 3-4 yards that's there, maybe get a yard or two after contact, and that helps the offense, and that's what we've been trying to do, and we've had a little bit of success with that, so we'll keep it pushing.
Gotcha. And actually, just building off that, you just young guy, obviously with Colby gone, you get DeJuan Williams. He gets a chance to kind of step up a little bit. Obviously, a local guy just like you, plays high school ball over at St. Francis. But just kind of from game one till now, I guess where do you feel like maybe seen him get comfortable or kind of just kind of get situated?
So DeJuan was an early enrollee for us, so. We saw him pretty early. We got to go through some experiences with him. And I've seen his growth tremendously because of the fact his knowledge of the game has changed so much. You guys see what he can do on the field when he's making plays. He has that mindset where he's not scared of anything, not afraid of anything, and he plays that way. But just his knowledge of our playbook has grown so much. He knows what to do. He's playing really fast because he put the time in to learn our playbook, learn his style of play in our offense, and I'm really excited to see what he does in the future.
Hey, Roman, last year on the offensive line, 4 new starters. This year, all 5 are new starters. Can you just talk about the difficulties that poses to the running back room when it's kind of a revolving door on that offensive line?
If you look at our track history with our offensive linemen, we have a lot of offensive linemen that are playing in the National Football League now. So that's what comes with it. When you have a great group of guys that come through here, they learn and they develop, they ultimately make it to their goals of the next level. And we have a new batch that comes in. So I don't really look at it from a negative point of view. I see it how Coach Locke sees it, where we have some young guys that are working really hard. If you guys see them at practice, they're doing everything possible. They're staying after extra film work. They're doing everything that I saw guys like Jalen Duncan and Spencer Anderson doing when they were here as well. So I really don't see it as a negative thing at all. I think that they're going to gel. They're going to continue to build that connection within one another, and I think in the next year they'll be playing at a high level for us. Thank everybody.
Hey, Ruben, we asked Roman this too, but the motivation to get to a bowl game, how much is that in your guys' mind heading into this week and the rest of the season?
Yeah, it's vital. We have 3 one-game seasons. We got to get a win. So where my mindset is, I got to do all that I can to make sure that we get a win, and where our team's mindset is on the same wavelength as mine. So we're just looking forward to getting a win.
And what's it going to take to get back on the right side of the turnover ledger? You guys were really good at creating turnovers earlier this season. How do you get back to that?
Yeah, we just got to be ball hawks. We got to make plays. When the opportunity comes, we just got to make them. Really, it's no secret formula, no special sauce. We just got to make the plays when they come to us.
Ruben, can you, for those of us who are not in the locker room, can you describe the mood among you and your teammates to get to this stage where you're kind of, you have two, like you said, you have 3 games left, you have to win 2 of them. Is it frustrating, or is it more, like you said, motivating in any way?
We're a very relentless group. We all have stories and backgrounds that we come from where we had to fight to get to where we're at now. So there's no downers in the locker room. Everybody's head is in the right mental space. And like I said before, we're just scratching and clawing to get wins. That's where we're at now. We didn't expect to be here, but we're here. So the only thing we can do now is go fight and go get 6 so we can get bowl eligible.
And does that make Saturday's game a must-win situation for you guys?
Every game is a must-win. Every game is a must-win. Every game we prepare the same way. So it doesn't make Saturday a must-win because every game is a must-win for us. That's how we look at it.
Hey, Ruben. Before the season, Coach Locksley said that you guys are going to be a defensive-led team. Do you think that's held up throughout the year?
I do. I think, we just need to, play complementary football. We just got to figure out ways to gel with our offense. When they're doing well, we got to pick it up on defense. I think that's holding on well. We're still leading the pack defensively.
And then at Oregon, I don't know if your family was there, but a lot of Maryland fans in that little pocket of the corner. How cool was that for you guys? I know some players I saw after the game talking with their family. For your families, fans to make that trip, for your players to see that, does that kind of, I don't know, must feel pretty cool?
Yeah, it was good. My mom was there, so she was able to make it out. It's always good to have supporters there. Oregon was a great environment, a great opportunity. Obviously, we came on the short end of it, but nonetheless, it was good to have family there and supporters there.
Ruben, Rutgers coming off a win against Minnesota. What did you see in that game that jumps out as they kind of stopped a slide?
I didn't watch that game yet, but obviously we came on the wrong side of things with Minnesota, and Rutgers didn't. So they obviously did some things well against them. So I have to look at the tape and watch it, but I didn't get a chance to watch it yet.
Pass rush, I think you guys are 16th in the Big Ten in sacks. What have been some of the stumbling blocks this fall? How have teams, kind of countered you guys?
Yeah, I think, we just got to just continue to rush the passer. I mean, I don't play defensive line, so I can't really, speak for them or expound upon that point. I just know being a part of the back end, we can do a better job at covering, and we can do a better job at executing our calls and our coverages so the D-line can get back there and go eat. So can't speak for the D-line. I can only speak for, my play. So I'll just say we can help the D-line out more so they can, get what they want and deserve. Appreciate it.